We've come to the part of the meeting when we are going to review community projects. And because this is such an active community, we have 13 projects. We're already 3 minutes behind. We have 20 minutes. And so you can imagine that we need to be very efficient. So if you are one of the 13 that have submitted a presentation, if you could get in a queue to the microphone, because what we want to do is we want to say 1 minute and that's it, because otherwise we won't have enough time to get through all 13 before we crash into the next session, which John is not going to be happy with if we do. So if you're one of those 13, please go to the microphone and we will begin with CMCC. So who is representing CMCC? We can move to that slide, please.
Okay, that's me. Thank you. So I'm very glad to announce the Navigate Engage Summer School on integrated assessment models that will take place next summer in the first week of July at Como Lake in Italy. It's organized by the RFF CMCC European Institute on Economics and the Environment. The summer school targets modelers, advanced PhD students in their second year, or early postdoc that are modelers and interested in integrated assessment modeling. The faculty will be composed of experienced IAM modelers, both from the two projects Navigate and Engage. The call will be open in the next days, and the application deadline is March.
Okay, thank you. Right on time. All right. So let's start with, let's go to OECD.
Yes. Hello, it's me again. So at the OECD, we are launching a big project, which is called Inclusive Forum on Carbon Mitigation Approaches. It's set up on two parts. One part will be a stock taking and mapping of mitigation policies, which I believe will be useful for the community and will be free access. So we'll keep you updated on that one. The second part aims at associating the emission reductions that can be obtained with each policy instrument for each country. And that one is where I believe you could instead be interested in collaborating with us. So if you are doing modeling studies at country level that could help answer this question, I'd be very grateful if you got in touch with me. Thanks.
Under time, that's the best. That's incredible. Okay, AgMIP.
Right, AgMIP is a agricultural modeling comparison project, which has, well, like around 10 years history right now. And now we are now at phase 4. And well, we actually don't have a specific funding for AgMIP activity, but we are sustaining this community continuously. And main focus is a global agriculture market and food security impacts associated with climate change mitigation and impacts. And from last year to this year, we had two studies. And one is a decomposition analysis of mitigation effects on food security, which has been published in Nature Food this year. The second one is focusing on dietary shift, which hasn't yet been published, but we're going to submit very soon. And we have integrated assessment models and also agricultural economic models. Okay. Can I continue? Well, can I continue this one?
All right, just quickly finish. Yes.
Right. So
this is the next. This is the next one.
Yes.
Oh, well, in that case, you get a whole minute. All right, start.
Right. So we also have a series of Japanese national scenario exercises. As it was started in around 2015, and now it becomes phase 3. And we have 4 or 5 Japanese national models, and we did a pure model intern comparison. And recent focus is like an updated NDC and carbon neutral goal targets. And we have a specific funding for this model intern comparison funded by a Ministry of Environment of Japan. And we the steering committee is Masa, Ken, and myself. So if you have some interest to join to get some information from Japan's policy or whatever it's related to Japan, please contact us. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, Cirque EULAR.
Yeah, that's the tongue breaker. Circular is a new project that just started running for 4 years, and it's about understanding the intersection between circular economy strategies and climate change mitigation. In addition to traditional circular economy approaches, including reuse, recycling, and so on, the goal is really to look into dematerialization strategies via service-based economy approaches to limit basically material stock growth, so more efficiently utilizing material stocks. About half of the project is actually empirical research, so informing the modeling, and then towards the end, we'll develop integrated pathways. There are 3 deep dive focus areas on mobility, buildings, household services, and digitalization, including 12 institutions. And we are very much happy to collaborate with a broader community and also share data. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, next up is KEI.
Yeah, we started a very long-term big project to develop the global integrated assessment model, linking the top-down and bottom-up model to evaluate the macroeconomic impacts of the policies and the microeconomic cost of the technology in a coherent way. It's a 7-year-long project sponsored by the Ministry of Environment, and lots of institutions are involved, the Yonsei University, Korea Environment Institute, and so on. And this is linking the CGE, global CGE model with the sectoral optimization model by way of through the iterative decomposition algorithm. We developed a domestic integrated model already, and we applied the model for the evaluation of the Korean mitigation pathways, but we plan to expand the model to the global scale. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next up is Jeannie.
Yeah, so I'm cheating a little bit. There's 3 very brief updates. So the first is to let everyone know about a project called Genie. It's a ERC synergy grant across IASA, MCC, Aarhus, and UW-Madison. Relevant for this community is that we hope to have a couple of nice data sets coming out. One is a large-scale set of surveys of public perception of CDR and SRM. The second is a database of historical analog growth rates for new technologies. So where we're looking at old technologies, new technologies, how can it be compared? And the third is a new data set, which is in review, looking at reanalyzed land use pathways, so aligning them to national inventories. If we can go to the next one. Great. The other thing, a similar overlap group of people have been looking at, or we will be publishing a report called The State of CDR. I'll just be brief. Come chat with me about this later if you're interested. And the third is a new HEU grant called Rescue, where IAM teams will be working together with simple climate models and full-scale ESMs looking at overshoot pathways. So I think there's a lot of work in that space, and we just wanted to make everyone aware that this is also a project where we'll be looking at it. Thanks.
Excellent. All right, next up, AAR2.
Yeah, so this is basically a regional community project, the Austrian Assessment Report on Climate Change. It responds to the need to translate the wealth of knowledge of the IPCC report to a local scale. So it's designed after the IPCC, includes more than 120 authors, includes all the institutions, I would say, which work on climate change in Austria, and will work very closely with the policymakers to inform them about the options that they have to achieve net zero emissions. Thanks.
Thank you. Wow. So next up is EDITS.
Yes, so EDITS is a joint initiative of EASA and RITE in Japan. And the idea is to form a community around research on the demand side and focusing on low energy demand scenarios, looking into technological and social innovations, and trying to understand the current status of modeling and how to improve them to represent transformation for low energy demand scenarios and inform policy. We have a variety of different teams joining this initiative, focusing on national or the global and on different sectors, including buildings, transport, industry, and multi-sector. And then a series of working group focusing on these different sectors, but also fostering data exchange across different teams, as well as comparing modeling and developing narratives for low energy demand scenarios to improve evidence for decision support. Thanks.
Perfect. Best timed yet. All right, engage.
Yeah, Engage is the Horizon Europe, Horizon 2020 program that contributed a large share of scenarios to the IPCC database that you saw this morning. We are going to our last year and are running two large model comparison projects on which anyone can join if you're interested. One focusing on national and global post-Glasgow scenarios led by PBL and COPE, and a global IAM comparison on feasibility scenarios that take into account feasibility constraints. So we have protocols for those. If you want to join us, contact us as written here.
Excellent. Now, is this CGIMS or GSIMS?
GSIMS. And
So that was a typo on your program. This is GSIMS, which is a really good project.
and I'll take Boss's remaining 10 seconds, if you don't mind. And so, yeah, GSIMS is actually a big overarching funding program. But what I want to talk about is a scenarios project that we are just kicking off in the planning phase right now, with several people doing some thinking about it listed up there. And the key idea here is to develop scenarios and facilitate the development of scenarios by others that are organized around the idea of the outcomes of the scenarios for human well-being, so that the outcomes, not just the drivers, are part of the scenarios themselves from the beginning. And those outcomes are things like health and education and living standards and inequality and so on. And this is intended to be used various modeling approaches, including large ensembles, multi-scale, and is not intended, if you're wondering, to be any kind of competitor or anything to the SSP framework, but to be complementary to it.
Great. Okay. Next up, Elevate.
Yeah, Elevate is a new EU-sponsored project. It's intended to do scenario analysis using integrated assessment models to support the international negotiations, in particular global stocktake type of activities, and national policies. And we're doing so with a team of global models, but also modeling teams from different countries that represent national analysis. It is a bit similar to what the Engage project did earlier, but we are focusing on a few new topics like sustainability and justice and international cooperation. We already have 19 partners, but if the national teams are willing to join, we can really look into this.
Excellent. And to bring us home, Circomod.
Yeah, Circomod is actually a sister project of Circular that Volker presented. And basically it's a collaboration between integrated assessment models, both biophysical and economic, as well as material flow analysis experts in order to investigate the potentials, bottlenecks, and enabling conditions to the circular economy. It's led by Utrecht University, and there's lots of partners that you can see there. And basically it's looking all the way from extraction to waste and everything in between for materials. So yeah, it started earlier this year and really excited to see what's going to come out of it. Thank you.
All right, that was impressive. And John, I'll turn the floor back over to you with a whole minute left.